So here we are, part 3 of the Plain Truth, talking about the swing plane. We've established that the best blow is in the plane of the post and a glancing blow is less than effective. We then took it to the golf course and we laid the post on the ball target line, and the idea being that we load. We have different planes of loading, but whatever plane we choose to use, it has to live down the post. And what we've just understood is it's not just a blow against the ball or the post, there's an elongation of the strike, and we go down that line for as long as we can. The longer we go down that line, the more effective we're going to be, and at some point we will turn left. Now guys who are good players with a strong grip, they will turn left early, but as I said earlier, turning left through the ball, keeping the hands low, flattening the shaft, that's the latest bit of garbage really, that you keep the shaft low. Well, in the old days that was called a fade. So let's talk about the best that I can think of, and it was Trevino. In the early 70s, he kept the club face square for longer than anybody, to the extent that when he hit it, he had that sort of swagger, and he went forward, and the big movement. Ledbetter picked up on that, and he taught it to Faldo. So in the Ledbetter era, to which all teachers should be grateful for, because David revolutionised the teaching industry and created a whole culture of having coaching. British people didn't know that was the case, they just thought pros had lessons. But what David Ledbetter did for us, he got the amateur golfer realising that they needed help with their swing. Now, when David noticed Trevino's swing, he noticed that the shaft returned impact. In other words, the shaft flattened in modern parlance. Okay? But when you're hitting a fade and doing a Trevino motion, that's what you get. I can show you loads of video and pictures of the great players like Tiger. At impact there, the shaft has not been flattened. It's risen to the plane. Tom Watson, Colin Montgomery, Mo Norman, all of those guys, the shaft was higher at impact. That's what the Mo Norman swing was. It was a straight line. He didn't flatten the shaft as he came down. So let's be clear. Flatten the shaft is just a rephrase. The simple way to look at that is it was a fade mechanism. And that's a good thing if you've got a strong grip and the ball goes left under pressure. Turning left is a fade mechanism. However, if you pick up on it as pure doctrine and you load and turn left straight away, it's a spin. And that's not what happens. The best players drive the ball towards the target. The shaft flattens because they're playing a fade mechanism, and when they do that, like Trevino, they have to stand up. Okay? Tom Watson, he chose to live above the plane. Now, if Tom Watson stood up, the ball would depart over here. I saw him do it actually at Royal St George's. He had a 3-wood into a par 5. He stood up on the shot, and the ball started left, went left, got in a bus and went completely left. Well, that's because if you swing like Montgomery or Watson and you swing in plane here, then if you stand up, the amount you stand up is probably how far left you'll pull it. So it's not a good idea. And I personally believe that Tom Watson's swing sustained for so long because he didn't do anything unusual. He went with nature and he made a swing that was an upright plane. He wouldn't want to be turning left through impact. So if you're playing a fade mechanism to avoid the hook, flatten the shaft and standing up, part and parcel of the same thing. At Woburn you soon learn to start the ball on the line you want. So if there's a tree in the way, I would open my stance radially, and then I'd think about Trevino, and I had that little bit of a swagger, and the ball fades in flight. Can you imagine releasing on that swing path? The ball would go left, turn left, and go straight away. So, don't worry about the shaft flattening, think about the shot. If you're playing tennis, you wouldn't worry about the handle of the racket, you'd worry about the ball. I think the same is true in golf. Think about the shape of the shot and let the swing take its place.